She is a true predatory tyrant of the wild, a flawless, lethal machine with unrivaled speed and power. Yet that seemingly unassailable rocky ledge is about to tremble as she unknowingly steps over the ultimate boundary of fury, where a mother will challenge even death itself to protect her young. Down on the sun-baked sand, a honey badger mother leads a tiny, dependent offspring, a masterclass in survival, where fear is entirely absent from their genetic code. For the badger, survival is a relentless excavation of life, teaching its young the art of digging and the unyielding attitude required to endure in these harsh, rocky domains. From the high ridges, the cougar locks on to her target. In the calculus of nature, an isolated cub is an opportunity too rich to ignore, an evolutionary pressure driving her forward. The little badger wanders, curiously exploring the vast, unforgiving world around it. Yet in this harsh wilderness, a straying infant becomes an unmissable, fragile target for a lurking apex predator. The badger mother remains vigilant, her keen senses scanning the hot air. She knows that in this landscape, danger does not preview its arrival. It simply strikes. In a heartbeat, the tension snaps. The cougar launches a blinding ambush, but the honey badger turns to face the titan, standing her ground with a ferocious, defiant roar. The puma sprints across the unforgiving landscape with her struggling captive, navigating the steep, rocky slopes with effortless agility. A mother's fury knows no bounds. The adult badger launches a counteroffensive, transforming herself into a buzzsaw of teeth and claws, forcing the feline to recalculate the cost of this meal. The badger mother erupts into a whirlwind of fury. She charges directly at the massive cat, refusing to let her young be taken without a brutal fight. Locked in a suffocating embrace, the giant cat struggles to find a lethal hold. The badger's evolutionary armor, skin as thick as leather and incredibly loose, prevents the cougar's fangs from reaching vital arteries. Dragged along the coarse earth, the badger mother refuses to yield. She bites back with reckless fury, turning a desperate defense into a chaotic war of attrition that tests the feline's patience. The cougar uses her sheer mass to slam the badger against the slope, attempting to break its spirit. Yet this small carnivore possesses an astonishing bone density, built to absorb the shock of a titan's wrath. Tumbling down the steep incline, the battle becomes a blur of muscle and dust. Gravity forces them into a treacherous descent, where one wrong move means a fatal fall into the abyss below. Miraculously, they hit a rocky ledge, and the lock breaks. For a fleeting second, the cougar hesitates, her predatory instincts forcing her to weigh the value of a meal against the mounting damage to her own body. In a desperate bid to protect her territory and her cubs, the cougar strikes again, pinning the badger down. The heavy panting of both combatants echoes against the canyon walls, a grim soundtrack to a primal struggle. The jaws lock once more around the badger's neck. Here, in the quiet cruelty of the wilderness, we witness a profound truth. Nature treats the hunter and the hunted with equal indifference. Locked jaw to jaw, it is a primal test of endurance. The badger's incredible pain tolerance and fearless spirit keep it in the fight against a predator twice its size. The puma attempts to reposition, trying to land a lethal bite to the neck, but the badger's flexible skin makes it nearly impossible to hold securely. The badger's powerful claws tear into the rocky ground, anchoring her down. She refuses to give an inch, locking her jaws onto the puma's face in an act of pure maternal defiance. A terrifying crunch echoes across the canyon. The badger clamps onto the puma's snout, delivering a painful lesson in survival that makes even this apex hunter flinch. Suddenly, the chase resumes. The badger pursues the retreating puma, turning the hunter into the hunted across the rugged, sun-scorched terrain. The puma retreats up the rocky slope, nursing her wounds and realizing that messing with a mother protecting her offspring is a deadly gamble. Back on the high rocks, the badger stands vigilant. She lets out a fierce growl, ensuring the predator knows that this territory is strictly off-limits. Safe from harm, the mother and her cub reunite. The little one approaches, guided by the ancient instinct to seek comfort and safety beneath its mother's watchful gaze. Deep inside the cool, dark burrow, the fierce warrior transforms into a gentle protector, nuzzling her precious cub, the beautiful, tender balance of brutal nature. But in a land gripped by drought, peace is a luxury that never lasts. Driven by the primal ache of hunger and a severe scarcity of food, the honey badger emerges once more into the scorching sun. This is not a quest for vengeance, for nature has no room for pride. It is a calculated, desperate move. The badger knows the cougar is away hunting, leaving her sanctuary and her cubs exposed and vulnerable. Guided by an infallible scent, the smaller carnivore breaches the predator's inner sanctum. In the cruel irony of the desert, the table has turned. The formidable hunter has now become the provider of a grim bounty. She makes her escape just as the distant shadow of the mother cougar returns in a frantic dash. In this harsh arena, a mother's love can protect, but it can also destroy. As the dust settles, one haunting question remains: what will be the ultimate fate of the stolen cub?